Bam! So here we go. I got challenged by Jared Young on how to teach true grit. So how do you teach it? How do you teach in itself? I think it starts by being an example. Living what you teach. Otherwise, it's just hollow phrases. I'm a born New Yorker. Ed Koch said, if you're a true New Yorker, you talk a bit faster, you think a bit faster, and you walk a bit faster. So, as Jared said, I'm the wicked genius, and I'm just throwing it out there. Giving it a 10-minute preparation, and I'm just going to riff it. As Seth Godin said, it's about shipping before perfection. And in all honesty, I am nervous as hell. I'm feeling my heart throbbing. I got a knot in my stomach, but I'm doing it anyway. And I think that's where it starts with true grit. Jared brought up some models that are very useful, some fundamental ideas that I can mainly subscribe to, and some that I'd like to tweak a bit, but that's for, I think, a later discussion. I think it starts indeed with knowing where we stand. And I think it's Victor Maslow who started with the pyramid, and it does start with the fundamentals. If you are insecure about where your next meal is going to come from, if you don't have a roof under your head, if you don't feel stable enough that you can plant your feet and build your life in a consistent way, you will not be able to get to the point of self-actualization. Now, you need a drive to go through these difficult steps to actually reach the epitome of self-actualization, to find your true why and be able to get there. But you can think about it, you can do some soul searching on trying to figure out where is your passion. But then you're just sitting there and waiting. And it's not going to happen. By putting yourself out there, by accepting challenges, not just simple asks or invitations. It's about challenges. In human nature, we have aggression. That's grit. That's the foundation of grit, or the tool, I would say, for grit. Because without that force, how are you going to be able to repeatedly go through the hero's journey? This is basically a starting point of mine. Let's see if I can actually bring it to screen. Oh, it's reflecting like crazy. Where do we have that little sucker? The hero's journey is not coming out properly. Technical difficulties. Fair enough. Live with it. I'll share it somehow, but it begins in your normal life. In circumstances that, let's say, you decided to settle on, that you've built your own coping mechanisms around. Because if you already have gone through some of life's lessons and challenges and not being fully prepared for it, you'll be having coping mechanisms. They helped you survive. They helped you maintain the first or second, maybe even third level in Maslow's pyramid. But how does that affect the rest of your life? And how will that help you in your self-actualization? Or how is it blocking you? That's the challenge that many of us will face on a daily basis. And it can take years before you're ready for it. That's the sweet part of the hero's journey. It starts off with the call to adventure and the refusal to it. Because what is it that makes you tick? What is your why within this model? And if you're waiting for your passion to tell you what is your why, it will take a very long time before you find the motivation to take that step. By putting yourself out there, you will be able to find mentors that help you over the threshold, taking that next step towards further self-actualization, and also broadening the base of your pyramid and making it bigger. It's important to put yourself out there, because then you will be able to find your allies, to find your tribe, to find those other cells that communicate with you, that are actually going to help you in your fulfillment. And then by putting yourself out there, by testing the theories that you have, and Jordan Peterson says, just start with something. Choose something. Pick a skill, pick a vocation, and start moving. Looking at how you can hone your values, your drivers, and learn. Because I really like his starting point. We are all idiots. We are all fools. We are all incompetent. And the biggest foolish statement that you can make is, I am Mr. Know-It-All. I know everything. So start with accepting yourself with all your faults, all your shortcomings, all your fears, and in many cases, all your traumas. And then take a moment to reflect and figure out, what is it that I think I want? And for me, last year, this was my first attempt on what do I want. I had 3 items in my life that I considered important. Life and other things. But it didn't really get me going. So actually just last March, I went to what they call an Ikigai workshop, where you are invited, challenged, facilitated to figure out where you stand at the core of what does the world need you for, what are you good at, what do you love, and what are you worth. If you are invited to do that, and you don't just let it be one afternoon of interesting knowledge downloading, because that's where grit really comes about. After something like that, after a challenge, an invitation to really think about what it is you want, or what it might be what you want, don't go back to life, business as usual. You have to act. If you don't act, it's just a dream. And then it's an illusion. So figure out a way that can help you move forward. Find your allies. Test your allies. Come to the realization who your enemies are. And then, as the hero's journey says, move to the inner cave. Come to the edge of the abyss and jump in. Feel that hurt. Feel that pain. And feel that grit. Know that you have it. You are the product of millennia, of thousands of generations of human evolution. You are the product of the people, your ancestors, that survived in very difficult circumstances. That is in your cells, that is in your bones, that is in your hormones. Figure out which roles you fulfill. Are you a father? Are you a husband? Are you a co-worker? How do you stand with your family? What kind of friend are you? What kind of friend do you want to be? Figure out what you want to be doing with those roles. Don't think about it. Don't say, yeah, I know it now. Make it real. So that was my next attempt. I wrote my different roles down, and I set down my core values on how I want to act with that. But still, then it was a challenge for me. Or a challenge, a huge obstacle. One that was kind of out of my reach. Where I missed my self-confidence and the connection to my grit. In last February, I got the challenge to write down what it is that I wanted and how I saw the path towards it. That was the start of my book, my journal, so to speak. 3 months down the road, I've been evaluating my goals. At first on sometimes even twice a week. What steps am I making? How I'm making progress towards them? And what are my learning points? Right now, this one is more or less done. So I got a new book, a little book of big plans. But actually, this new one, there's an extra one for my projects, just so I can put it out. Coming back to figuring out what it is you want. What is going to be the next step? How are you going to test that your notion of your self-actualization goal is real, if it's worthwhile, if it's true, if it's pure? As I'm a firm believer in not just thinking it or saying it, I have several models that help me make it more concrete. Fitting it into Maslow's pyramid. If you want to have a pyramid and you want to build something, even if you turn it upside down, you need a strong foundation. For me, it's about these 8 pillars that if you give them proper enough attention for the different roles that you have, and you figure out how that makes a stable foundation, you can further develop yourself without the pyramid, maybe even upside down, becoming too unstable that it will topple and get you back down into the abyss and wonder, do I still have that grit? By putting it out there, you invite people to also do something with it. And I started within Simon Sinek's group, Inspired, Safe, and Fulfilled, with a manifesto. And it is still not coming out properly. But this one is worth figuring out. Crap-a-doodle-doo. Technical difficulties. It's going to have to be enough that I say, or screw that, I want this in, moving inside. Dun, 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 dun. Let's see if I can get it on now. Yeah, so the Goal Supporters Network. This manifesto was translated into English, and I sent it to Jared. So I asked him, show me what you got. What do you think about it? How do your pillars look like? What meaning do you attribute to them? What roles do you fulfill within those spaces? And then, and that's an answer that he still needs to give, what choices do you make? Because you have to prioritize. You can't do everything at once. And after you've made those choices, the question is, what is the purity of that choice? Is it driven by fear? Is it driven by love? Is it rooted in wisdom? And just by asking those questions, you are more coming to terms and into connection with your personal wisdom. And that is where the fuel for true grit, in my opinion, lies. By putting it out there, like Seth Godin said, shipping before perfection, you get an upgrade of the model, a personalized version. And just by sharing it with your tribe, with the people around you, you are able to upgrade it, make it better, so that it can resonate with more people and get the tribe going. So, to round up, Jared made the point about the ask, about the tone and how you do it. As far as I'm concerned, I really like the leveling up of it. It's not so much about the invitation. It's the challenge. So, how do I teach grit? I hope that I can convey and show in my actions, not just my words, that I have it, that I've shown it's a process to get there, and that you understand that anything that is worthwhile is not easy. It's not going to be easy. It never will be easy. Making the right decisions will give you the power of heart to align, I think it was Aristotle or Socrates, to align head, heart, and hands. And put that forward. And I got a bit off on a tangent, but I hope this opens the discussion, or actually takes it to the next level, because Jared actually started this one. Looking forward to see some reactions.